So we have invited our guest, Ona. So thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us tonight and today.
Yeah, for us it's
we,
tonight, but
we have a little bit of time
thank you.
difference. So we would like to ask you if you could tell something about yourself and who are you and when did you start approaching the world of tattoo in general, and if you have some story to tell about that.
Yeah, so my name is Ona Greenberg. I currently live in LA, but I'm from Portland, Oregon. I've been tattooing for 5 years, and I started in 2018, I believe, with my apprenticeship. It's a legal requirement to go through tattoo school in Oregon, so I had to do that after the apprenticeship. And then I was lucky to be able to get a job at a shop shortly after and be immersed in like tattoo shop culture and be able to work with peers and learn from them. So yeah.
Nice. And was there any particular person that inspired you during your trip?
Oh my God. There's honestly way too many to list. I've been interested in tattoos and tattooing for quite a long time. I think just since late high school, essentially. I'd say that, like, in terms of influence, I'd actually say that Jessie Preston at Lombard probably influenced me the most. I feel like joining her shop, I came in at a time that I was really inexperienced and like not super skilled, and it was kind of like a right place at the right time situation. And she actually taught me more, I think, in the course of like my time at Lombard than I learned in my mentorship and school. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, honestly, everybody that worked there and everybody at my shop in LA at Martlet Tattoo has also been really helpful and inspiring. Lots of really, all my peers are really creative. So yeah, I kind of get inspiration from all over the place. Yeah.
I think also in your shop, so from the other other people that just work with you, it's cool to you can learn something more with the other people that work with you.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the main reason why I really like working in a tattoo shop with multiple people. I understand why some people prefer to have a private studio situation, but for me personally, I've just learned so much from working with other people and like observing their methods for tattooing, because everybody's a little bit different. That's taught me more than anything. So yeah.
Can you please talk about your style and how you develop it?
So I would say my work falls under the traditional tattoo umbrella. I've always loved traditional tattoos. When I started getting tattoos, I was getting traditional tattoos. I've always been like fascinated by the style and the way that it speaks from boldness and simplicity and color, and less relying on detail and like how did I say this? Like detail and like a really intricate like structure. And I find that almost more of a challenge for me coming from like an oil painting background, where I try to paint things in a more realistic realistic style to sort of challenge myself to go back to like kind of more like bare bones. And then on top of that, I try to make like my subject matter a little bit different than what I've seen. It's kind of like going from like the traditional, which I still like doing, but kind of like when I draw flash, I try to incorporate elements that are relevant to me in my life. I have like a lot of queer content, and yeah, just kind of trying to put my own spin and still stay within the realm of traditional is what I try to do.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
And we really love your style.
Yes, totally.
Thank you.
And do you think you're still, evolving your style? Is something that you feel is a continuous travel, as a continuous trip to something new, or I don't know, do you feel it, or this
Yeah,
is an evolution?
absolutely. Yeah, that's another thing that I think makes my job really special, is that like it seems that as soon as I feel like I have like my style down and like the materials that I like to use, I learn something else, or I see something else that someone is doing, whether that be like a different needle size, a different type of machine. I try it, and then I'm like, I might be like, oh, this isn't for me, but more times than not, I'm like, oh, this is like an interesting new thing that can like change what I'm doing, like tweak what I'm doing a little bit more to keep it interesting. And I think I hope that'll continue to happen. Because yeah, I have ADHD, and I just get bored with things if they're like if it's too consistent for too long, I get antsy. So I think, with this job, I think it's like important to keep evolving as you learn new things, and just like always be open to change.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that something like that happened also with drawing and painting. So when you do it for like I don't know, not every day, but for like few days a week, you just stay on the paper and draw, continue to do something different every day. And maybe sometimes you would like to understand other kind of colors. So just like inventing new stuff. So I think that you usually do like paintings and drawing almost every day.
Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessive about drawing flash. Kind of like in the vein of what I said before, was what I was saying in response to your last question, is that every time I, draw something and tattoo it, I'm usually like a little bit antsy because or being around tattooers and tattoos all the time, I like see something else in a book or that someone else is doing, and I'm like, oh, that's really interesting, and it like inspires me to like draw more. And I don't ever want to have anything like in my flash book that I don't want to tattoo. Like everything in there is like stuff that I really want to tattoo. And so if there's like a time when I'm like looking through and I, see something where I'm like, nah, like, I don't know, that's like old news. Like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I'll just make new drawings and replace the old. But yeah, I'm constantly drawing, and I think it's important. I think it's very important to keep drawing and painting, because even by like just using like the motion of your hand, like with pen or pencil on paper to create flash, I think that also it mimics the way, like it can mimic the way that you use motion to tattoo.
Yeah.
And so it's that in itself is like like practice for tattooing.
Yeah, totally. Do you think this is something that also changed in time, also related to the tattoo industry change? And do you think, how do you think this change happened in time compared to, I mean, in relation with tattooing, but also with painting and drawings? There's something that you noticed in time, or what did you experience about that?
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems like a lot of people that are starting out tattooing are kind of like skipping the part about painting flash by hand, or like, yeah, like kind of like more old school methods, and like maybe they prefer to draw like on their iPad or something. Like, I know a lot of people are doing that. I don't personally like it for my own work, but I guess that's like a major change. I haven't been tattooing all that long, so it's hard for me. You know, it's like 5 years, so it's like I've only seen so much, and I know that a lot has changed since I started, but I would say like that's like a big one I noticed. Also, like, yeah, I think just like using like digital methods to create art is just like is I guess newer, and yeah, it's definitely not for me, but it is for a lot of people, so it's kind of like whatever works.
Yeah. But just to
Yeah.
ask, you usually use colors, right? Or but you do also just black, if people ask.
Yeah, I like coils more. I actually started out using a rotary machine because, well, my friend gifted me like an Amazon tattoo kit and like a long time ago, and I was trying to practice at home, and that was like pretty disastrous. So I sought out an apprenticeship like pretty soon after I was just making terrible tattoos on people. But yeah, so I ended up learning initially on a coil machine, but then the first one I bought was a rotary, because one of my mentors had been in the industry for like 10 plus years at the time, and he had been doing foils before and did like more detailed like soft black and gray work, and so he was really excited when like rotaries were becoming more popular, and he bought one and it worked really well for him, and so he really encouraged me to buy rotaries. And it just, thinking back on it, it just wasn't giving me like the stability and weight that I needed. And so when I worked, when I started at Lombard Street, which is the last shop that I worked at, I tried using a coil machine that was lent to me, and it gave me everything that I was looking for, and it, like, essentially eliminated the struggles that I was having, which is like, again, like not enough weight, not enough stability. It's like I drink a lot of coffee, so it's like I need as much like stability in my hand as I can. And so that it's just worked for me really well. And every time, I honestly like kind of wish rotaries worked for me, because the coils, you know, with the weight also makes it like a little bit tougher on your wrist over time, and like a lot of people get carpal tunnel and stuff, but it just doesn't do it right for me. Like, yeah, it's just, I love the weight of it. I love just like, yeah, everything about it. It's punchy. It gives me the lines that I want. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also for us, because I just use coil machines for everything, But sometimes when I go to do some guest spot in some place, people think that I'm a kind of dinosaur because because I still use a pedal, and so no one still use it. So and I'm a really loud person in a shop.
Oh my God,
yeah, and it's
I have a fader that like it sounds like a chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's my fader, but I feel really bad, especially when you're like working with mostly like if you're working with other people with like that use rotaries, like really quiet rotaries, and then you're just like so loud, and you can sometimes like the client is like, oh. I'm like, don't worry, it's not as terrible as it sounds. I don't know why it sounds like that, but I'm sorry.
It's like when you go in a convention nowadays. So it's really silent. It's pretty silent.
Yes. This is
a lot of people are using pens now, and I tried it once, and again, like the lightweightedness of it was a little bit difficult for me. Like I just felt like, I don't know, but like I kind of felt like it wasn't, and the tattoo turned out well, but it was like I felt like my arm was like flailing around or something. It was like too light, but yeah, it's just all around. It's so different.
Yeah, we usually just build coin machines. The thing is that since we really like to improve ourselves, when people ask just to do a kind of rotary or hybrid, we are happy to try something new.
We're trying,
but every time that I use for myself, I say it is not for me. So the machine it runs really good, but it is not for me. So I just prefer coins. It's I don't have anything in like bad with the other things. Absolutely not, because it's everything. It needs to be up to you. So you need to be comfortable when you work. So it's different for everyone.
But we still prefer the dinosaur version.
We prefer the
dinosaur.
Interesting.
That's what I feel with everything. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just like it more. It just works more for me. I've tried so many rotary machines, and it's just just doesn't do it. And so I've just kind of like accepted that, and I'm like, well, I'll like always continue to try new things, but if it works, it works.
Sure.
Also, I think it's a matter now. I mean, also for me, it's a matter also for all the preparation, all the thing is. I don't know. I love it more. It's simply that you have the needle, you have the machine, and then
you can see everything. You can see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah,
it feels like more intimate. Like it feels more like I don't know how to say. Like I don't know. I guess just more intimate. Like it's like more of an extension of you. I don't know.
Mostly because when especially with the coin machines, sometimes you have to try before you start tattooing if everything is good. If you have to clean something, it is something. It need more attention in some way.
Yeah, there are so many things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
That's one that I just really hate. Like I hate that there are just certain days where I'm like, okay, I guess this machine isn't working, and I'll like check it out a little bit, and I'm just like, okay, she just doesn't want to run today. And then the next day it'll run fine. But I guess that's why I always keep backups.
Yeah.
So I guess that's like the downside, is that like I just feel like it's cool that it's so customizable, but the downside is that there's just so many things that need tweaking, and a lot of the times I don't know until I try to start tattooing, and then it's just not doing its job.
I would like to ask a question that is more, I think, a little bit more emotional in this case. And what does no, I see. But what does tattooing mean for you? I mean, it's like today in your life. How is important? How is big in your life?
Yeah, what is the feeling that you have today tattooing?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything to me. Like, it's just, it's like, it feels like a gift when I have the privilege of tattooing people and like being able to make a living doing something that I love, which didn't really seem like a possibility always. I had pretty much only worked in food service up until I started my apprenticeship. And I just I personally hated it. And like, I was just kind of like in this space where I'm like, okay, I have these jobs that I don't give a shit about that will hopefully be able to fund whatever like art that I'm working on at the time, and try to get by until like maybe I can, you know, make some money doing art like on the side. But yeah, I think tattooing gave me the ability that I never really thought that I'd have to be able to make doing art for a living a possibility. And again, to have like an artistic career where you're constantly surrounded by other people. It's like it's typically like a social environment that I work in. And yeah, it's like I work with like really talented, like I said, really encouraging and kind people, and who inspire me to do better. And I just think that's really special. Like even with like oil painting, I just do it at home, and I'm just by myself.
Sure.
And which I like, and every time I do a painting, I learn from it. And I'll watch my like Bob Ross tutorials sometimes and like learn it. But it's just not the same when you're not actually like working and talking to people.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it just means everything. It's just added so much to my quality of life, and I really do feel like it's every time I get to tattoo, even if it's something that like, you know, even just like a walk-in or like something that's in a style that I don't usually prefer to work in, I'm like, oh, actually this is like so cool. Like it's just like, it's cool to be able to like learn every time you make something and to make a living off of doing art.
It's something really, really amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, also because I think that is the same for everyone that had the opportunity to choose their own job. Yeah. It's something, if you, so for us, we did a choice to do this kind of job. So I'm really, really happy every day to do it. And it's something that gave me a lot of happiness every day. For everything, like it's for tattooing, that's also for preparing a sketch or just to talk with the customer. So it's
that's also like a really nice component that I didn't know I would enjoy so much, is the social part of it. Because I would say that I can be an extrovert, but my social battery isn't very high. Like I love like going out and talking to people and hanging out, but it's like I just get exhausted really easily. But yeah, so I didn't really think that I would thrive in like a career where it's like so much, like you have so much social interaction on like a busy day. And it is tiring sometimes if you've had like multiple like hours long conversations with a stranger. But I also just think it's so cool that you get to like meet new people and like for me, it's like I meet a lot of like other queer people and trans people, like people in my community that have different and similar experiences as me, and it just makes me feel like more, just more enmeshed in my community, and just like to hear other people's stories and like experiences in life, and even with like getting tattooed, and it's just so special.
Yeah, totally. It's
That's
a very
really great thing.
Yeah,
because people just when they start talking to you,
yeah,
especially with the tattooer, it's something particular because people start talking. Maybe at the beginning they're like a kind of scared. For sure, it's a tattoo. It's like when people ask you, so it will be it will hurt. So you have to explain for sure. It's a needle. So and at the beginning they just stay really silent, and after a while, so because I try. I'm sure that's also for you is the same. I try to let the people just feel comfortable in every way. Mm-hmm. So when you start to just like create the right atmosphere and everything, so they start talking to you, and it's something really amazing. It's something that I really love.
It's an intimate
it's
moment.
The real human part of our job.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's so important to remember how intimate the experience is, especially for the client, because you're causing them pain at the end of the day, which I struggle with. I'm really like it makes me feel horrible if like I'm tattooing someone who's obviously having a really hard time. And so I try to create an environment where I'm like not a scary person to communicate with. If you have like specific needs, or if you're having a hard time, like we can pause, or like you drink water, like, you know, whatever adjustments they need to make. Because I'm not experiencing the sensations they are. And so while I also obviously like have a ton of tattoos, and I know that it sucks every time I get tattooed, and some are like have been less painful than others, of course, but it's like it's very like very much like like this is like just really needs to be like a really delicate dance with the other person, where you're doing your job and you're doing a good job, and you're not just like pulling back too much because you're afraid. It's like accepting that it's going to be painful no matter what. And to just you have to be able to like work through it with that person and make them feel comfortable and be kind, because that also is like what keeps people coming back. Like at the end of the day, there's a million fucking tattooers out there. And if you're an asshole, like there's so many other like talented like traditional tattooers out there that they will go to instead of you, just because, you know, you're an asshole.
Right.
No one wants that.
It's a really good point.
Yes, totally. I mean, it's an experience that you have to pass in a very nice way. Otherwise, it will the footprint of that will remain on you all your life. So
and I think that a lot of people like have like I certainly have a couple tattoos by, you know, somebody that just like was a shitty person in ways that I didn't know at the time. But it's like the tattoos are really good, and unfortunately too good, and it's not fading. But it's like I hate them because the person sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
And I feel like too many people unfortunately have tattoos like that.
Sure.
Or like my clients will tell me about it, or like friends, other tattooers, are like, like it sucks that this tattoo is so good because the person, you know, was not a nice, like not a good person.
Yeah, totally.
And that's my worst fear, to like
Yeah.
create an experience like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can create like a totally like you can create that experience, or you can create like a really positive experience where someone feels safe with you and they can trust you and they want to come back to you in a matter of hours.
Sure.
Yeah, totally. I would like to ask a question. I mean, we quite often do this question, just about if you have any plans for your future, for your very close future, or for whatever in terms of tattooing or whatever. And yeah.
Well, I hope to be tattooing for a really long time. I don't have a backup. I don't even want to think about. I don't want to think about doing anything else.
Any plans for convention?
I just hope to get better and better, and I want to travel more in the future too. I'd love to get like my international following a bit up, so that hopefully eventually I can tattoo overseas. I've never done that before, and I just think that would be such a cool experience. But yeah, I'd say just to like not give up and keep going and doing better as I get older.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure you can identify.
Wish you all the best for
really.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So I really would like to thank you for participating in our project, and I would like to ask you if you could remain on Zoom so we can say bye to each other after I close the Instagram live session.
Sure.
Thanks. And so thanks to everyone who connected with us and who continue watching us, because it's something that we really love. So thank you very much, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.